You can make your own font using a simple grid system in Adobe Illustrator and one handy little plugin called Font Self. Let's talk about some concepts for a typeface that you might like to make and take a look at how you can build your own. Today, I'd like to focus on synthwave, cyberpunk, tech ninja kind of thing. A display font that is more about looking cool on your artwork than about extreme legibility at like minuscule point sizes. Designers for those fonts are in a league of their own. I actually went to a design museum in London that had an exhibition on about Adrian Frutiger at the time. Definitely recommend that if you're a total font nerd like me. Let's get font nerdy together. There's a link in the description to head to my website, which you'll get some free design elements to download and take a look at. They are helpful for today's video and possibly helpful for just building some typefaces in general, some cool stuff. Let's take a look at those right now. This is the file that we're going to be using today, which is the file in which I built this font that is the talking point of today's video. It's a techie, cyberpunky kind of vibe. I really love it. You can get it on my website if you would like to have a look through. This is the file that you can download for free. It'll take you through the steps of how I built it one by one. You can see the grid that I've used, the shapes that we blocked out as we were building it, and then just how we built it step by step. These are the steps I'm going to take you through today, and so this file will help you follow along. And you can take a look at, it's rare that I do this, it's an unfinished vector. You can see how I actually built the file up. And then just some cool little ideas for grids that you could use yourself to start maybe building up your own techie, cyberpunk, synthwave, darksynth kind of font. You can download those for free from the link in the description if you'd like to take a look. Today, we're going to start with this rather simple but rather effective grid system. You can start by just drawing a square and deleting one of the corners. Hit Ctrl J to join up the face, and you've got a triangle with a right angle at the side. And then reduce the top point down to whatever kind of shape triangle that you would like to use today. I have my grid set out already here. I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down as well. You can use more or less, depending on how much detail you want in your font. I found this worked well for what I wanted to do because it gave you options of... Basically, it means you have a middle, which was great for the letter E and F and things like that. Once you've got your grid laid out, what you want to start doing is selecting the elements of the grid that you think you will want to be a block instead of the grid. Select them all, and here in the corner where the stroke and fill are, just swap that around and you'll see it starts blocking out your letter shapes. We're going to build an A and a B. There. We're just going to do A, B, C, D today because the whole font is already there. And as we go through it, I'll do the whole cooking show thing, you know. Here's one I made earlier. I'll pull it out of the oven and you can take a look. But I also want to do a bunch of it in front of you just to show you how kind of quick and easy this can be. It feels like when you say build a font, you do think of Adrian Frutiger and you think to yourself, wow, that's going to take a million years to do. But if you're building something really rigid and gridded like this, then it doesn't take as long as you might think because there's so many repeating elements throughout the font. The letter A can quickly be modified into the letter F just by removing the second downward element. The letter A is also very similar to the letter H. The letter D is very similar to the letter O. The letter C is the letter E. If you add an extra cross brace into it, it all goes quite quickly once you start building up those letters. And the same when you start building the detail that you build on one letter can probably be copied across to at least some of the others, apart from the weirdo goth letters at the end. But they'll have to sort themselves out, I think. Once you've blocked out the shapes that you're wanting to use in your grid, you can then start just using a rectangle tool to push your shapes further towards looking like actual letters. How far you want to go depends on how lettery you want your font to be. Some crazy cyberpunk typefaces really are just wacky and out there and hardly even look like proper letter shapes. That's cool if you want to go that far. You don't have to. You can do your own thing. You can look more like letters, look less like letters. I think I tried to block out a lot of the area but leave these kind of like arrow shapes in there, as you'll see in the final font when we get to it. That B shape there, I can't remember how I did that on the actual font. Yeah, so it comes down there. So my B shape comes up from the corner here. Top tip when you're doing this, make sure you have view and go down to smart guides. Make sure you have smart guides on. That will make your life so much easier when you are doing this. Everything clips to each other, all the points click into each other, and it'll make following the grid system a lot easier. Smart guides is a lifesaver. So just finish off blocking out your shapes here. Again, leaving as much detail and weirdness in there as you feel represents you. How much weirdness do you have hidden away in there? Not as much as me. And you've got your A, B, C, D. That might not be exactly how I did it in the real font, but that's the kind of idea. And then once we have built up all of our spiky triangular letters and then block them all out in nice shapes, you can go through them all and kind of decide if they feel uniform. I think particularly with like a techie cyberpunky font, it's helpful when more letters are uniform, like you see on the right upright here of the H and the N and the M. They all follow the same kind of letter form, and then this kind of spiky mid points gets followed on the E and the F, and the same on the A. So everything is nice and uniform. The H goes across a little bit further to kind of be that real crossbar, but try and follow a fair bit of uniformity. It gives everything a nice similar look and feel. Now, here is a top tip, a top secret tip from yours truly that I'm not sure I've ever told anyone. The way to get super clean and crispy looking vector shapes, in my personal opinion, is to destroy inside corners. I don't know what it is about these. Look at that. It's disgusting. Ah, horrid. So what you can do, if you've got a shape, you can do this a couple of ways. The way that I do it, because it's just the way that I've always done it, is just draw a 45-degree angle from one corner to the other. Again, that'll be way easier if you've got your smart guides on, because it all clips together. And pull it, holding shift. You can pull the anchor points straight across to make a nice curve that meets up at the midpoint there, and then you've got a nice curve. Click that anchor point and twist up there, and then you've got a nice inside curve. And this is how we start building. Sorry, tonsillitis again. How we start building up our shapes to look nice and clean and crispy, and then leave your outside points pointy. Outside points pointy, inside points curved. That is how. If you like inside corners, that's fine. I destroy them all, which is what I did when I was building my fonts. It started off as all these blocks, which does look kind of cool and techie in a way, but for me to put my own spin on it at least, I curved everything off on the inside. That was how I wanted to start off, doing all this. And once I had these letter forms, I thought that looked much more me. It felt much more me, because that's how I treat all my vector shapes. And we thought, well, everyone who saw this thought that it was lacking a bit of something, needed a few more edges and elements that kind of, everything was too squared off, if you see there. So we started building these corners, curved corners that popped out from the tops and the bottoms, and started giving it almost that like alien weaponry kind of vibe, which I really liked. I really dig it. It almost looks as though the letter forms are like a foreign language, but they are all standard British letters. They just look funky as heck. And I thought that was really, really cool. Through the design process, I thought that I might build a capital set and a lowercase set, but then this lowercase set, I felt like it wasn't really working. Like, some of the letters really become really quite unreadable. And I know that this is all about form over function kind of thing, but in the design process, I felt that wasn't working. So I instead built two alternate sets. So there's one really, what I feel is like my nice finished set here, and then one really a little bit more destroyed, a little bit more out there kind of alternate set. So you can pick and choose which of these letters you want to use based just on uppercase and lowercase if you're typing with the font. It's called Tech 1, and it's available on my website if you want to check it out. That's the numbers that we put together. I keep saying we, it's me. There's no we. I don't know who we is. We is me and you. Me and all my 0 viewers, yes. And so we is the ethereal, the nevermore, the never was. I'm losing my mind. Anyway, once you've built up your font, doing what we've just done, finishing off the corners if you would like to, adding any extra elements on that you think is cool. Maybe like follow the curvature of that piece and add on some extra bits to the outside, etc, etc. Whatever you want to do, because it's your font. You can see here that lots of the elements kind of follow on from each other. The F is just a modified E. The P is just a modified B. The T was easy to build up because it's just the top crossbar and a sidebar. The U and the V are very similar. You get my drift. It's the R is a modified B as well. It seems like it's going to take a long time, but as you start building it up, it doesn't actually take too long to build up something, as long as you're doing it all very nice and uniformly. Something like a black letter font takes a long time, or a font where everything is different because you've got to work on the spacing a lot more once you drop it into font self, which I'll show you in a sec. But if everything is all nice and neatly gridded up, all very uniform, everything fits uniformly into the same size, shape, and space, then you're gonna have a nice, easy time. So what you want to do is, once you've finished off all of your... don't know what's happened to that one. I don't know what's happened to that one, but it can sort itself out. Get all of your letters on the same line and ensure that any of the letters which are made of multiple pieces are grouped together. Like this X here, is that grouped together? Yeah, that's a group there, as you can see, because that's where you can fall down. So what you need is for your 26 letters to be 26 shapes. If you've got an I with a dot on it, if you've got funky letters like these that are made up of multiple pieces, make sure they're grouped together. Set them all to black, have them all in the same line, and have them all in order, so that when you drop it into the font creator, it knows the letters, the order of the letters. So what we're about to do is take a look at the plugin I have here, Font Self. Is that Font Self or Fonts Elf with pointy ears? I'm not sure, but it's a very nice plugin. I think it's available online for about £30. I'll find a link. I haven't put the link in the description, but I will find it and I will stick it down there so you can check it out if it sounds interesting to you. It's really intuitive to use, really cool piece of software. For this type of font, you won't need to do too much messing around with the separate kerning and stuff, but if you get more into fonts and make more advanced ones where the letter widths are different and things like that, it has some cool tech where it can kind of do a lot of that for you, and then you just need to go in and tweak the final elements. It's really cool. They're not sponsored, they don't sponsor me or anything, but I just think it's neat. The letters that you've made and selected all, drag and drop them. You can choose whether you want... So when you have 26 letters, it'll detect that. So if you ever do it wrong, let's say I just have 2 selected and I drag and drop it up on here, it'll just say batch and you just have to tell it what letters they are. But it can detect if you've got 26 elements selected, and then you can choose whether you want that to be the uppercase or the lowercase. Pop them in there, it'll import all your letters to the lowercase. Same again with this one. Let's have this one be uppercase and drop them in there like that. Same with these ones. When you've got 10 letters, 10 letter forms selected, it'll allow you to populate the numbers, which it'll automatically do. The zeros corrected itself there because of the points. I think it's just... the points are correct. It's just, it's acting like the loop's not closed when it is. But you can see in here that it's sorted itself out, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But hey ho. And then all your letter forms are in there and ready for you to save out. So like I said, there's some options here, like this smart, it'll automatically adjust stuff based on your letters and things. I don't think we need to do that this time. We'll find out when we type with the font. I don't think we need to do that this time. But anyway, if you hit save up here, what you can do is call it, well, they suggest my cool font, so let's call it that. My cool font. And just save it to desktop quickly. So I can grab it. And then the cool thing that you can do is your font is here. Like all the fonts that you've seen, like all of those fonts you downloaded from DaFont and other possibly slightly more sinister websites. You can install it on your computer, my cool font. And then what you can do in here is you can type lorem ipsum, very, very large, and type it in my cool font. And then the font that you've made, literally you yourself have built it today. You can type anything you want. I want sausages all day, every day, because they're delicious. And if you want sausages in a dystopian cyberpunk setting, I imagine they'd be made of even more heinous things than they are these days. And that's that. Yeah, super cool plugin. Super cool little thing you can do. You can make your own fonts. There probably is free plugins as well. The one I've got here is great, and it's like £30 or something like that. I think it's also available on iPad and things like that. So I think you can create letter forms with like Procreate and put them into FontSelf, which is mad. It works on desktop. It works with Illustrator and Photoshop. I just bought the Illustrator one because everything I do font-wise is always going to be vector. But yeah, that's really cool. I bet there is some open source options out there as well if you want to explore those, although I've not used them myself, so I can't vouch for their quality. As I said previously, if you want to have a look at the steps that I took myself to build the font Tech 1 that's available on the website, this is it. You can download it for free and have a look. You have all these letter forms here. They're all finished off, but like they need a bit of finishing off. But those letter forms are there for free. You can download them. You can use them, play around with them. Obviously, they're not in a font yet, so you have to do the thing where you copy letters and mess around with them. But you can chuck them in your artworks if you want to, play around if you're making cool darksynth stuff. If you do that, make sure to tag me in it, because I love to see where all my elements end up. If you want the actual font, you can download that from my website. Obviously, if you need it like a commercial license, or if you want to use the alt characters and things like that, and the numbers, and just have it be nice and easy to type as a font, you can get that on the website too if you want to take a look. And these things too, like, I'd be interested to see how you use those. Just ideas on how funky or simple you can be with a font. You can have it be like a little bit separated and make it like a digital screen, make it a bit wavy and alien-like. Have it look a bit like those, what are they called, Nixie tubes? A Nixie tube font, that would be sick. That almost definitely already exists, but make your own anyway. It'll look sick. There's how many techie fonts are there out there? Tons, probably, but there's none that look like the one that you're going to make, right? Any shape you want, make it into a grid. If you want more detail, have more shapes across and down. If you want less detail, see how undetailed you can go. Undetailed? How blocky? How much detail can you get rid of? I love the limitation. The idea of like creativity comes from limitation. So if you really limit yourself, you might come out with some really creative ideas. That is how you build up a font using a grid system, and how you could build your own font today. or over the next series of however many sessions you like. I'm not saying this is a super quick thing, but I'm also going to tell you that it does not take anywhere near as long as you think it will do once you get into it, especially once you enter that design flow state where time is meaningless and the only thing that matters is completing your task. Is that just me? Maybe that's just me. But that said, I had a ton of fun building this font. Download free stuff off my site. Buy stuff off my site. If you would like to support the channel, if you would like to support me, I think these things are cool. Hopefully some of you think these things are cool too. That's everything for now, I think. I will be back a similar time next week. I hope you have a good one. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Yeah, catch you next time. Cheers.